Chapter 6. Twilight of Power. The Last Kings of Persia. The fires of Salamis had long burned out. The thunder of war drums faded across the Aegean, leaving only the whisper of history. Yet within the golden halls of Persepolis, the empire still gleamed, vast, rich, and seemingly eternal. But empires, like stars, shine brightest before they begin to fade. The shadow of Xerxes. After the humiliation in Greece, Xerxes I returned home, not as a conqueror, but as a man haunted by loss. The king who had once bridged continents now turned inward, seeking solace in architecture and ritual. He poured his might into building the Hall of 100 Columns, the Gate of All Nations, and the completion of the majestic Apadana at Persepolis. Each stone spoke of divine order, each relief of eternal kingship, yet beneath the marble calm, unrest stirred. In the provinces, revolts began to smolder again. In Egypt, Babylon, and Bactria, even the once loyal satraps whispered in secret halls. The empire still stretched from the Indus to the Aegean, but its unity, that invisible thread of faith and discipline, had begun to fray. Assassination in the shadows. 465 BCE, tragedy struck. Xerxes I was murdered in his own palace, betrayed by his own courtier, Artabanus, the commander of the royal bodyguard. The once divine throne of Persia became a stage of blood and intrigue. Artabanus briefly seized control, claiming the power of the king of kings, but he too met his end within months. From that chaos rose Artaxerxes I, Xerxes' son, a cautious, intelligent ruler who sought not glory but stability. He mended what war had broken, reopening trade routes, restoring temples, and even weaving diplomacy where his father had wielded the sword. But the world had changed. Persia was no longer feared, only respected. The age of Artaxerxes, a fragile peace. Artaxerxes I's reign marked the beginning of balance over conquest. He allowed Greek cities autonomy, restored Babylonian temples, and even corresponded with distant lands to maintain the great web of satrapies. It was a masterstroke, for a time. But the same gold that bought peace also corroded the empire within. Satraps grew arrogant, provinces acted as kingdoms, and the sacred unity that had once held the empire together was fading, quietly, invisibly. The glory of Artaxerxes II, the last flame. Under Artaxerxes II, Persia experienced one final blaze of grandeur. He ruled longer than any before him, 46 years of intrigue and endurance. He restored temples to Ahura Mazda, rebuilt cities in Asia Minor, and even saw the Peace of Antalcidas, a treaty that bent Greece, for a fleeting moment, to Persia's will. But it was a fragile glory. By now, Egypt was lost. Rebellions burned in Anatolia, and within the royal court, the king's own family plotted against him. Still, Artaxerxes II's reign gave the world a glimpse of what Persia once had been: majestic, merciful, and magnificent. The last kings and the gathering storm. After his death, chaos returned. Artaxerxes III, fierce and uncompromising, briefly restored the empire's strength, reconquering Egypt with fire and steel. But his own general poisoned him. His successor, Xerxes, was murdered soon after, and finally, in 336 BCE, the throne passed to Darius III, a proud but ill-fated king, unaware that destiny was already galloping towards him. Across the Aegean, in the small kingdom of Macedon, a young warrior named Alexander was uniting the Greek states under one banner. His eyes were set eastward, towards the lands of Cyrus, Darius, and Xerxes. The empire that once humbled nations would soon face the storm that would end it. The twilight of power. By now, Persepolis was old, its gold fading, its halls echoing with the ghosts of kings. The sacred fires of Zoroastrianism still burned, but the light of the empire was dimming. Yet even as its might waned, Persia's spirit endured. The idea of a world united by order, law, and tolerance would outlive every king and every conqueror. From Cyrus the Great to Darius the Last, the Persian Empire had built more than monuments. It had built a blueprint for civilization, a model of empire that Rome, Byzantium, and even modern nations would echo for millennia. And so, as the sun set on the house of Achaemenid, a new dawn waited beyond the horizon, a dawn called Alexander. But that is a story for another time.